Hello and welcome to Stage 4 of Club Day, where we're driving the Hennessy Venom F5. And they really do mean like an F5 tornado, and yeah, this thing's pretty crazy fast, so I kinda get that. This is a pretty crazy car. Okay, so this is the second stage that we're at Kota. So it's a very good thing if you do spend some time during Stage 3 and get more comfortable with the track, because, well, we're seeing a lot more of it. So I'm kind of glad that I took my time on Stage 3, because now this isn't seeming as daunting. I know that I need to get on the brakes very early, and oops, that's definitely off track. And I know that I need to use more braking points than you normally would, because that'll happen. You'll step out and you'll slide around. And on this track, if you really blow some of the corners, you're going to fail the stage. I did that a few times because off track is more of an issue now. So a full second of off track isn't very much if you go sliding because you were braking at the wrong time. Like there, I knew I was going to hit him if I tried to take the proper braking points, so that's no good. And in this race, there's not much to it. You just got to get up into fourth place, but man, you can get deeper into this race and make a silly mistake and have to do it over again, which is kind of frustrating. Oopsie. Well, I didn't fail. That's good, because I scraped him pretty good. So now I'm in fourth place, and I kept thinking, well, maybe I can get into third place. No third place to be seen. Well, we'll just have to keep going and see what we can find. Now again, I was saying here in the last video, just after this red and white curb, I'm on the brakes just a little bit after. And you don't want to go totally off track unless you know you had too much. That was okay. And that point is a pretty normal braking point. Here though, I'm definitely backing up, probably 3 car lengths from a normal braking point. And then for this section, you've got to, might be able to get away with just 1 heavier braking point or 2 short ones. And probably the heavier single point is more advantageous. Now, there's still 2 full laps to go. Let's hyperspeed this a little bit. So let's go 4 times regular speed, because there is nothing to see here. There's just nothing. There's no one else to see. In fact, you know what? We're going to skip a whole lap, because honestly, there's nothing to see. So right here, I'm going to warp ahead. It's going to look pretty seamless. I just did it. So we went from lap 11 to 12, and that's it. And there's nothing to show you. So might as well get on to the next race. Okay, so Magnus is buying back in. Now, this is where things start to get dicey. One of the hardest events I ever did in this game was the Hennessy Venom GT. I'm trying to remember the name of the event. It'll come to me later. It doesn't really matter. It was the very first event that car was available in, and it was a special event, and you had to do several laps at Indianapolis Speedway with the steering aggressively changing suddenly. And you had to drive really fast because it was a timed stage. And my goodness, when that steering would shift, it would thrash you into the wall. It was so violent. I did that event twice, once with minimum upgrades, once fully upgraded. It was actually a lot easier with minimal upgrades because the more speed just got you into more trouble in that car. Why am I saying all that? Because the steering is wonky in this stage. And once in a while it's changing, so you'll hear this really bad metal on metal shifting sound and like scratching sound. That means the steering just changed. So you got to pay attention for that. It's not so bad in this one because we're never going that fast, but in the race that I'm talking about, you had to push it so hard, and so as soon as that sound happened, I would actually totally get off the gas. Now this one isn't as extreme, so I really wouldn't worry about it, but it does feel strange that you're heading into corners and you're having to have your device tilted a little bit wrong. So, which would happen in real life racing sometimes, where steering's pulling one way or pulling the other way, and you've got to adjust for the amount of force you're having in the corners. Now, I do need to get up into the first place, and It's a, what is that, a Senna GTR? Yes, I'm going to be careful with this because he's got incredible grip. Oopsie. So it just feels a little bit odd getting into these corners, having my device tilted more than normal. So I'm already in first place, so I really can't get much higher. Now I could take it a little bit easier, and that's what I would recommend for this event, for this particular stage. Get in the lead, but then just take it easy. Don't get too crazy there because the steering feels strange, and we're going to warp ahead right here. Another very seamless warp. I just skipped a whole lap because there's nothing to see. And you can see I kept pulling away from second place there. Got a nice lead. And I'm just cutting out content that would make this a very boring video. Like a whole lap without seeing anyone and me being cautious. There's really nothing anyone needs to see. Okay, there we go. That's the end of that stage. Sorry, that race, not the whole stage. We still have more to go. And you can see my earnings if you want to see them. As I said before, I'm not going to be adding up all my earnings because I don't think anybody cares. So this gets interesting. Now the steering starts to get more wonky. The engine is horribly overheating and we need to drop back. So here's what I recommend. Aggressively block Magnus for a while, kind of make him push you. And just this is just to let the engine temperature drop. So I'm getting in lots of blocking. I mean, I am driving a little bit here in the gas, but not much. Like right there, big chunk, I was on nothing at all. 5 of 10. What? I could have just stayed in front of him. That's interesting. It was counting drafting. It didn't matter who was doing the drafting. You know what? I didn't notice that. Wow. Well, there you go. So you never have to let Magnus pass you. Anyhow, all that blocking has enabled me to substantially lower my engine temperature. So I'll still have to be a little bit careful, I think. Woo! Obviously not a no damage stage. I'm severely cracked. Wow. So here, building up heat, starting to turn yellow. And I think I'll be okay though. But I can just get off the throttle early and coast. And, you know, not build up as much engine heat. Looks pretty good though, right? It's down on the white again. Just on the edge of yellow. Yeah. At this point, I don't have anything to worry about. Because I really can't stay full throttle through this section anyways. And as you can see, I'm lifting off the throttle, coasting a bit, keeping the engine temperature low. Magnus is way back there, nothing to worry about. Not a crazy stage. Steering wasn't a huge issue. Does feel weird, but not a big issue. And just keeps getting worse. That steering problem. I think Magnus is cheating again. Oh well. Now, here I have to add tuning, upgrades. Sorry, not tuning, upgrades. Had to add upgrades. Don't have a choice because it was red. Wouldn't even let me enter the race. Okay. This one kind of confused me, to be honest. There's a lot of laps to go, but my engine temperature is severely low. So this, I'm thinking this isn't going to be a problem. But we'll just have to keep our eyes on that engine temperature because there is a problem. And I don't know if I missed something in the storyline because I got really confused here. But it all works out in the end. So watch that engine temperature because I wasn't watching this very closely at first because I'm focused on racing. But it builds and it doesn't seem to go back down when I'm off the throttle. So I'm taking it really easy, trying not to build up a lot of engine temperature, but just look at that. It's not going down. When I'm on the brakes, it should be going down. And it's not. And I'm not wanting to let Magnus catch up too much. So here I'm going to really take advantage of the strong suit of the Venom F5, which is speed. Because corners are my weak point, so I might as well let him gain on the corners and just coast. Still not looking bad. But still, look at that. So it's very, very, very slowly building, but it's not going back down again. And that's very unusual. And getting concerned because I still have 2 full laps to go. And that's getting pretty hot. Whoopsie. I had to stay on the throttle on the brakes way too long. And not necessarily what I want. So here's where I start getting a little bit worried. Because I'm noticing that engine temperature is getting bad. It's now getting to orange. And it doesn't seem to matter if I coast. Look at that, coasting. Lots of coasting, letting Magnus catch up, and it's not going down. Okay, well, how do I get another 1.5 laps out of this? 1 2/3 laps. I don't know. Well, so, okay, I'll just keep doing this. Oh boy, well, Magnus is almost totally caught up and my engine temperature won't move. It's really strange, isn't it? And what am I supposed to do here? Okay, can I get him to push me? Well, maybe it'll overheat and then maybe make me wait for 4 or 5 seconds and then it'll let me go again. Okay, well now I've overheated the engine, so I guess we'll find out what happens. You know, I don't know if I can make him push me. I'm not going to be able to make him push me for a whole 1.5 laps. And enough time has gone by. Not working. So here's where it gets weird. I finally just go, oh, whatever, hit the brakes. What? I passed the stage? I don't get this. So maybe you could have made the stage a lot shorter. Stayed on the throttle the whole time until your engine blows up. It's a weird one. Incredible damage. I guess that's the name of the stage. Okay, well, it was incredible damage. So, there you go. That is the end of stage 4. Get on with the final stage.